Good evening to all participants. I welcome to Solanki sir, and it was good that he has given his consent to address all of us on a particular subject, which is the very important subject in today's scenario. That is webinar on that is on frauds under GST, manner of detection by tax authorities and precautions for CAs and GST auditors. Let me first introduce Solanki sir. He is a retired IRS officer who has worked in the Excise and Custom Department for more than 30 years. He has also worked as Principal Commissioner of Service Tax in Mumbai and Additional Director General in Central Excise Intelligence at Ahmedabad. He is a Chartered Accountant by qualification. He was one of the team members who drafted Service Tax Law in 1994. Further, his immense can be judged from the fact that he was part of Government of India's team for formulation of policies for introduction of GST in India for almost 8 years. For his distinguished services, he was confirmed with prestigious Presidential Award in the year 2001. He is a regular faculty in Training Academy of the Customs and GST Department and has also trained officers from tax department of SAARC countries. During his stint in the government, he was directly involved in bringing a lot of changes in the functioning of the government department by way of introduction of professional system of audit, simplification of various procedures, and removing anomalies by way of legislative changes. A book titled Guide to Central Excise Audit and Study of Financial Records, authored by him, is also part of curriculum for training to IRS officers. Presently, he works as a senior partner in a law firm, Mrs. TLC Legal, Mumbai, a boutique firm dealing exclusively in indirect taxes. So we have with us today a rich, experienced Solanki Saab, and we must take the advantage of his 1 hour. I welcome again to Solanki Saab. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jatin Bhai. Let me take the slides there also. Okay. Okay. Now, a very good evening to all of you. First of all, my great thanks to the Ahmedabad Management Association for inviting me to talk on this important topic. Now, the question some of you must be wondering, why this topic, the fraud under GST, how the department is detecting so many cases. The relevance of this topic must be known to most of you, because once you open the newspaper in the morning, every alternate day or maybe every day you find some other cases of the GST fraud being detected by the tax authorities. And the most common, I would say 90% times, you find only one type of case, and that is the bogus or fake invoices. The seriousness.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Sir, the screen sharing is not yet active, sir. Can you share it again?
I've shared the screen, no? I've not done it.
No, right now it is not there.
1 second.
On Zoom window, you have to again go and share it, sir.
Okay, I'll do it. 1 second. Give me one.
Yeah, it's okay, sir. Yeah, now it's okay.
Can you see it now?
1 second. It is, yeah, perfect, sir. Please go ahead. Sorry to interrupt, sir.
No problem. Thank you. Okay. Now, some of you might be wondering that why this topic, fraud under GST. So as I was saying you that the number of cases what department is booked under the GST is enormous. And the seriousness, some of you must be noticed that maybe yesterday or day for yesterday, there was a news report that almost around 200 people have been arrested in last about 8 to 9 months in a 1 year period, only for the GST fraud. The question takes us to the why that so many cases are being detected by the department, why the frauds are increased, and most important thing, how the department is in position to detect so many cases. And in that scenario, as the professionals, what are the precautions what the chartered accountant and GST auditors can take it while signing any paper, while giving an advice or giving any opinion, etc. on the GST matters now. So that's why we have selected this particular topic. And as we go forward, you will understand that, the type of data what the department is having, type of the tools what the department is having, it's enormous now, and especially in the GST era. So let me start with the presentation. The topics what I'll be covered, some important statistics, which will, give a bird's eye view about how many people are filing returns, how many are not filing, and how those information are being used by the department. Second, types of frauds detected by GST department. What type of frauds? I mean, I'll say, I was saying, you more than 90% cases are mostly the bogus bill or fake invoices. Then the fraudulent export refund that is linked with, again, the bogus or the fake invoices. Third is supply of goods without invoices. You will be surprised, department is detecting many cases where the people are selling the goods without invoices. Those cases are being booked there. Now, what are the database department having, and what the reports are available to the tax authorities on regular basis? Once you will look at those reports, you will be amazed and surprised how the tax department is functioning nowadays. Now, parameters for selection of non-filers case, what parameters department is using to select a particular case for further investigation. Sharing of information to other departments, very, very important things. If the case is booked by GST department, how the information travel to the income tax department or to the economic offense wing or for a PMLA or enforcement directorate, that we'll discuss. And what are the penal and arrest provisions for the fake invoices? And most important, what's happened in 2020 budgets? Many important changes have been made there that as a professional, we should know it now. Let me come very quickly. In the March 20, of course, we are almost December. The figures have not changed much. We had almost 128 lakh registered people in the country on the GST. And out of that, around 65 lakh people, almost 50% people were migrated from the central excise service tax and the VAT registration. And around 63 lakhs people have taken new registration. This is a very important aspect. Almost 50% new people, new registrants, have come in the net of the GST. Taxpayer opted for composition, means the people who pay only the 1% or 2%. They don't take credit, they don't pass on the credit. There are only 18 lakhs people. There hardly any 15% people are there, who are opted for composition now. GST are 3B returns. This is very important now. Almost around 1/4 people are not filing the GST at 3B. People who have taken registration, but they are not filing it. And they are the people, they are suspicious people, which comes into the net of the department. GSTR 1 also, 30 to 40% people are not filing GSTR 1 also there. So the question here, this non-filers are the big, catch by the tax department. So almost around, you can say 1/4 people of the registered people are not filing returns now. Why they are not filing, how they are caught, that will take further now. We'll discuss. What are the type of GST frauds? As we discussed, fake and bogus invoices, we will go in much details in this. Fraudulent export refund based upon fake and bogus, we'll again go in details because many cases booked on where the people have claimed export refunds and on the export of so-called export of goods, where the tax was GST was paid using or utilizing the credit, which was a bogus credit, which were taken the fake invoice. Number of cases department has booked it. Supply of goods without invoices, I discussed to you initially at clandestine removal cases. Transfer of accumulated input tax credit without supply of goods or services. Within the group, you have some credit lying in one place, you want to encash it. So how do you transfer to other people? These are 4 types of cases where the department has booked it. Now, you will be wondering now that suddenly why this, tax department has become so proactive. It's not that those types of the bogus bill cases were not happening in the past pre-GST. It was happening in the past also there. But suddenly, why so many cases? That you must realize this, and because that will, show you the intensity and or the seriousness of the issue now. The reason now that the type of database what the department is having with them is enormous database, and along with data mining tools and data analysis tool what the department has developed are really fantastic. First reason is that in the GST, every B2B invoice is recorded in GSTR1, which was not happening at least for central excise and service tax. Some of the state governments were asking the people to give details on aggregate level for a sale by one dealer to another dealer. But still, invoice was transactions were not recorded or maybe recorded in few states for VAT purposes. When the GST, every B2B invoice is recorded. So it is tracked. It is tracked from A to B, B to C, C to D, how the invoices are moving, how the goods are moving. It can be tracked very easily. Returns can be filed only on payment of taxes, which was not happening in the case of excise and service tax in the VAT. Now, of course, return you can file only on payment of taxes. So non-filers give some indication to the department. This is a major change in the GST. ITC availment can be matched with supplier's record now. I mean, whatever a person is availing the input tax credit, that can be matched because the matching concept has come, and the supplier's file is GSTR1, which becomes your GSTR2A. So your availment can be matched with the tax paid or what documents have been filed by supplier. Movement of goods only with e-way bills. This is a very important thing. Reduction of exemption limit for SSI. This is very, very important. In the excise, central excise side, earlier there was exemption for the turnover, annual turnover up to 1.5 crore. That exemption has gone down to 20 lakhs or 40 lakhs in some states now. Now, with the reduction now, so many new people have come into the net. When I was saying more than 60 lakhs new people have come in GST net, some of them are the people who were earlier availing exemption. Now, in the pre-GST, what was happening? SSI people, since they were not paying the excise duty, they did not require the excise duty paid documents. They did not require the tax invoices. So they will buy the goods from somebody and the invoice will come from somebody else. And the person who was selling the goods on payment of excise duty, the invoice will go to somebody else. So invoice was going to one person, goods are going to second person. But with the reduction of exemption limit for SSI, now even the SSI people have to pay the tax. So the chances of goods going somewhere else and the document going somewhere have reduced. This is one of the reasons why so many cases department is in a position to book it. The whole question what we're discussing, how the department is in a position to detect so many cases. Every transaction of goods or service liable to tax, and that to one tax. Earlier, what was happening? Some transactions were, after the manufacture, the further sales were liable to only the VAT. Whereas prior to that, it was VAT and excise duty both. Service tax transaction is only liable to service tax. Once it comes in the next chain, where it was used by trader or somebody, it was not further liable to tax. But in the GST, every transaction of goods and service is liable to tax. Therefore, right from stage one, you can say extraction of raw material till suppose the sale of the car, entire transaction liable to tax because of those factors. Now, because the data capture has become, very strong in the hands of department and remaining things, because of that, detection of the cases in the GST has become much easier for the officer as compared to the pre-GST period. Now, as I was saying you, the most important area of the cases booked was the fake and bogus. But some of you must, of course, all of you professional, you must be knowing that why the people are doing, but just to give a continuity of the presentation now, why the people are going for the bogus invoice, the fake invoices now. Availment of input tax credit without receipt of goods. You want to avail the ITC, you want to get a financial benefit, all of you are aware. For bank overdraft facility, overcome NPA problem. This is my practical experience. When we deal with many clients who have been, come into problem. And to my surprise, I can say with my experience and talking to the even departmental officer, more than 50 or 60% cases where the department is booked for the fake invoices, they the people I mentioned that this they did to inflate the turnover in order to get a CC limit or OD limits, or even just to overcome NPA status. Couple of cases, people have mentioned that their accounts are becoming NPA. So they just show some purchase and some sales on paper only. And against their sales, those bills were discounted. And with that money, they are able to overcome the NPA status. So this is the one major reason. Now somebody may argue that, sir, we are forced by business compulsions. But problem is that the departmental officer will not listen to you. You say you have taken the credit without a receipt of the goods, you are in problem. You can take the plea that yes, my sale is my purchase is bogus, my sale is bogus also. I'll come to that issue a little later on, because that was the issue taken in the income tax. Because in income tax in the past also similar cases have been booked in large number, and the tribunal and high court level they have given the benefit that they say the purchase is bogus, sale is also bogus. So how can you penalize the person? So I'll come to that little later on, but this is the reason. To increase the turnover for higher valuation for share market, all of you know, this is one of the very common reason. Sometimes the corporates are forced to or compelled to do it now. Right or wrong, I'm not doing the ethics, but yes, it is wrong. To get income tax benefit, yes, to increase your expenditure, reduce the profit, people do this bogus billing. Siphoning of money by the owners is a very common. It happens in India. To avail export benefit and other benefits, undue benefits, I will say, people are doing it. To circumvent other legal provisions. It's very interesting that, I was talking to some officers and even the industry people. Some of the cases they mentioned that sometimes we don't want to do any bogus. We have no interest in doing bogus basically. But sometimes to circumvent, I want to, my group company wants some money. Suppose some group company wanted 50 crore or 100 crore rupees of the, urgently. And I can't give a loan because there is a bar in the, Companies Act. So what I do, I show just some sort of advance given to them. And once I give an advance, I have to, fulfill that transaction. Then I show a bogus sale to him. So I come on the track. But yes, people have done for this reason also. And last, of course, encashment of accumulated credit. You have a excess credit with you, you want to encash it. You just give the bill for some goods or services, and thereby you encash the credit. These are the basic reasons what during various investigations, the officers have found, various people who have come to us for knowing the legality or help in the investigation. We have found those reasons now. Most regions you must have had except the first availment to ITs without receipt of goods and to export. People say by compulsion we are doing it now. We don't have any we don't gain any financially, but we are supposed to do anyway. That's a different thing. I'm not going to into the ethical. It's not purely they are not ethical, but business compulsion not. That's a different issue. Now come to how the people do it now. Very quickly I'll take it now because our main focus today is how the department detect those cases. These are just a preliminary, grounds for taking it forward now. We know this A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E. This create a maze is created, and various companies in between are created, the bogus or fake companies, in order to reach the credit from A to E, or circular trading ultimately is A to E and then ultimately come back to A also. And that mostly happens with the group company, but many people do it. Creating bogus companies to pass out the credit now. It has also been noticed the registration of A to E may be in different states. People have done this. A is registered in Maharashtra, B in somewhere else, C in Gujarat, D in Karnataka, like this. So they thought that yes, it will be difficult for departmental officer to track people sitting in various states, even though everything is done sitting at one place in one room. But today I can take registers sitting in Bombay in my house also. Registers for Karnataka, I can take for Gujarat, I can take for Tamil Nadu, everything I can do, I can file returns at one place only. But on paper, I'll be shown in different places. But one should not keep in mind that he will not be caught because the tools are so strong with the department. People have been tried their level best to create a big maze of the transaction. But with this invoice-wise transaction available with the department now, the officers have caught them very, very easily. In this whole situation, where it's a complete fake invoices are there, two types of things are there. One is complete fake invoice where the in this transaction A to E, A does not file the return and does not pay the GST and vanishes, but B to E file returns and everybody in the chain only. So when the last person E is there, he say, I got the goods, sir, I got my tax credit is there, I'm filing the return, even D has filed the return. But reaching from E to A, this whole question, in the past, the tax officers were taking a lot of time, lot of energy were wasted for reaching from E to A. But now reaching from E to A to become so easy, or the department is reaching from A to E rather. It's reverse way also, they're reaching in there. So that's the thing, how they're doing, seeing it also. So A does not file the return and he vanishes, and the B to E file the return. Second is that A pays the taxes. Here, government has not lost the money. A is paying the tax, but he is simply, raising the invoice without any supply of goods or services. But the tax has been paid by A only now. So A pays the tax, discloses in his return too, but raises invoices without supply of goods or services, mostly to increase the turnover of bank facilities or circular trading or whatever the case is. Last is A issues invoices to B. This is a very common. Goods goes to A, bill go to B. So A issue invoices to B, but the goods are given to C without invoices, or goods received from X, but invoices received from Y. These are again cases, and people say that the goods, my supplier has given the goods from where I don't know, but he has given me invoice, he has given the goods also. So those are the things happening, those different types of the modus operandi people are using in the industry now. Many such transactions done through middlemen. In the case of bogus, the officers have found that many of such transactions done through a middleman. So even the buyer may not be knowing who is the supplier because it's only middleman in between. So, and why I have put this particular thing, because those middlemen has also come in serious problem in 2020 budgets now. There can be serious penal provisions, including the prosecution arrest against those middlemen also, not only the buyer and seller, but the middleman also. That's the amendment made in 2020 budget now. Now let's come to this side now. Manner of protection. Now, all of you must be wondering why the department, how the department is in a position to detect so many cases. I mean, I will say last week only I was reading in a paper, and then I came to know that a case involving a 2,000 crore rupees of the turnover, which include around, you can say around 360 to 400 rupees of GST was detected in Bombay. So nowadays, every time you find a case of 10 crore, 20 crore, 50 crore, I mean, of the tax involvement of bogus, and department has been detecting on a regular basis now. So how do they do now? I'm just directly come to the DMD now, department's methodology for detection. It's a short form for DMD. First thing what they do, they analyze the data for non-filers of GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B. Who are the people who are not filing the GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B? And a regular monthly report goes to all the investigating agency, what we call DGGI, Directorate General of GST Investigation. It also go to the various tax commissionerates also, that who are the people who are not filing the reports, including the values. I mean, for the past, that fellow is declared how much value. For this 3 months, he has not filed the return, like this only now. When I come to next, you will realize this important non-filer, because there, initially I mentioned that more than 25% people not filing return. But department can't take all the 25% means we are talking about something around, we can say, how many, people, more than 20 lakhs people are not filing returns. But department has no wherewithal to handle this 20 lakhs people. Out of this 20 lakhs people, how do they detect those 5,000 or 10,000 or 20,000 people who are in this problem, who are in this net? That's a very important thing. So then analyze data filer of GSTR 3B, but who have filed GST. There are many people who have filed the GSTR 1, but they have not filed GSTR 3B. Here the problem comes. Suppose I am the business of the so-called bogus billing. I give an invoice to another person, suppose Mr. B. So Mr. B, even though he is part of my game plan also now, but still for his own satisfaction, he thinks that, yes, when the departmental officer comes, say, yes, I've seen this, Mr. Solanki has already filed a GSTR 1, and that is reflected in my GSTR 2A. So A will file the GSTR, Mr. Solanki will file the GSTR 1. So it is reflected in a 2A of Mr. B. Now the department track him here. He filed that Mr. Solanki has filed the GSTR 1 showing the turnover of every month, turnover of 50 crore, 100 crore rupees for 3 or 4 months. But he has not filed GSTR 3B. So this is a very, very, clear-cut case. There are good chances, 80-90% chances are there that I may not have paid the tax. I might have issued the so-called bogus invoices. Now what they will do it now? So once they say that B appears to be bogus, A appears to be, so Solanki's case appears to be bogus, and I have sold the goods to B and C, for example. Now they will look into B and C, and B and C has sold to whom? B and C has suppose sold to B1 and C1. Likewise, they can create a chain. So how from Mr. Sushil Solanki's account it gone to B, B1, B2, B3, like this goes there. They can track the entire chain. Even though after my not filing return, remaining people have filed the returns, they'll find, yes, the whole thing started with Mr. Solanki, who has not filed the return. So they can catch all the sort of invoices given by me to whom? The next person to next person, next person to next person. They can go up to E or F or G also. They can track it very, very easily. Wherever this sort of a organized things are done, that it will be happening that so-called B will be getting the invoices from A or somebody, maybe some more company, and B will be selling to C, C will be selling to D. This can be caught easily now. I will just tell you how the department is having the data where there is a common mobile number, common email ID are used. Department will use that information even to track those cases. I'll just show you in the next slide also there. So then analyze the data of non-filer, means of the GSTR 3B, but who has filed GST. This is the biggest source of finding the suspected cases of the bogus bill or the fake invoices. Now compare data of GSTR 2 of recipient and GSTR 3B of supplier, non-filer, basically. The same thing, this 1 and 2 points are the common linked here on. Now, in addition to these two things, what I mentioned in the earlier slide, now what are the important reports available to tax authorities used for detecting bogus bill cases? This is very important. Now, what are the different reports they are getting it now? Non-filers, I told you, a list of all person who has purchased from non-filers, including exporters claiming the refund. This report is generated, and of course, the last point is the coordinated study. I'm just jumping last one. Department has done some sort of a coordination with the data from the customs department, GST and data. Custom has a different system. That data from that system, GST, are being analyzed by, there is a data analysis wing in the CBIC. They put together all the data together, and with the very strong mining tools they got it, analytical tools they got it, they have filed out those cases with non-filers, a list of all persons who purchased from non-filers, including the exporters. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe 1 month ago, the data analysis wing have issued a list of more than 7,000 registrant, suspected registrant, who are suspected to have issued the bogus bills only. The department periodically, every month, every 2 months, they send 7,000, 10,000 list of those people. You can imagine, even they are able to track it. Though are the registered 7,000 people in the country were suspected now to have issued now those type of a bogus bills also there. Very, very perfect pinpointing. It's like CID. If some you watching the CID serial and how they are able to put, yes, you are suspected now. In the CID serial, the minute they may be doubting, but here those reports are there. They're, I mean, pinpointing, yes, and I can tell you, they're pinpointing in 80 or 90% cases, their suspicion are found to be correct. When the people come to us, then they found out, yes, it is the region now. Very important. Next point I'm coming. High value transaction by new registration. This is the report which is generated and analysis with other parameters now. What happens? Suppose there is A has taken new registration and he has filed a GSTR 1, but he has not filed a GSTR 3B, for example. For 2-3 months, his turnover 50 crore, 20 crore, 100 crore. Department immediately catch him. And why it is important now? Because in the past, in the VAT era also, department was in a position to catch them after 1 year or 2 years. By the time the fellow is vanished, he is no more there also. Okay. Now, with this invoice level transaction getting captured in GSTR 1, department every month track those people who are showing a high value transaction, and by the new registrant only. A new person who has taken registration, they catch him. Okay, this fellow has shown 10 crore, 15 crore, 20 crore, 10 crore, 15 crore, 50 crore rupees. Okay, he has not filed GST 3B. The report goes on a flash basis at the end of the month, and they are caught there. Then they take the action, but not only the A, the whole important issue that A, the invoice of A has gone to E, and E might have claimed the refund from the government by showing the bogus exports now. So they want to catch, they want to stop those people, because once the person got a refund and he vanishes, because all the registrations are taken in the bogus name, driver's name, employee's name, worker's name, and they are nowhere there only. Because PAN is getting on some bogus document. Once the PAN number is there, they are able to, get the registration both from import-export side and the GST side also. But now with the online tracking, I will say real-time tracking, they are able to track those people also there. And that is why you might have read in the newspaper, now the department is becoming very strict even for giving a new registration. And for your information, now that before giving new registration, they are linking that PAN number with the ITR, that income tax return filed by a person now. They are linking with that. Somebody take a registration now. They immediately link, this fellow, has he filed the return in the past? Income tax return. They said, no, this fellow not filed a single return. So in that case, departmental officer will come and verify physical verification of the premises to ensure that you are not bogus. That's a very, very important thing. Now the GST Council has approved this, and in the future, now people it may not be so easy to get even a registration. Even. That's the important thing. Because of this particular report, what I'm talking now, the reports which generated by department, and based upon that report, department in the position to track the people or the bogus people issue the bogus numbers. Next report, search tool. One mobile, one email, how many registration? On the one mobile number, because you have to give mobile number in your application, GST application, on which you get all your messages. So on same mobile number and same email ID, how many registration will be taken? Number of times, this is also used as one of the method to find out the suspected people, that yes, there is a suspicion on one mobile, 20 people have taken the registration, one email ID, 20 people have shown the same email ID, and then they track with the other fact also. GSTR 1, GSTR 3B differences. Yes, in my GSTR 1, I've shown the sale of 10 crore rupees. In GSTR 3B, even though I filed it, I show against 10 crore only 1 crore rupees. This is suspicion cases. Yeah, here is a possibility. This fellow might have given the bogus bills. Because then that case, to the buyer, the supplier can say, sir, I filed GSTR 1. Your transaction reflected in your GSTR 2. I filed GSTR 3B also. I mean, you see, this is receipt. I filed GSTR B, but how much you declared, that your buyer will not be knowing. So wherever the big difference with GSTR 1 and 3B, those cases, a report is also generated with the quantum. In this case, the quantum is, suppose GSTR 1 is 10 crore, GSTR 3B sale is only 1 crore with a 90% difference and 9 crore value difference. Those cases can be caught. Ratio of tax payment through utilization of credit. If somebody is regularly paying full tax through utilization of credit, those cases are also seen with little suspicion, along with the other parameters also. Cancellation of e-way bill by taxpayer with the time band, very, very important. 2 reports they are getting now. If a person is regularly cancelling his e-way bill, I mean, there are habits or habitual people that, yeah, he will issue the e-way bill and after 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours, he will cancel the e-way bill. So what does people do? They give the e-way bill number. So on the way, somebody check in, tax officer, they continue the e-way bill. If nobody has checked it, they just cancel the e-way bill also there. So department is getting a report that this fellow is a habitual in cancelling the e-way bill. Similar thing for cancellation of e-way bill by the transporter. If there are few transporters who are canceling the e-way bill regularly, those cases also taken up by the department. Those are the different reports which department is using, generating for tracking those people of fake bills. There's another type of reports which department is generating and which they're using for detecting other types of frauds or other type of irregularity. Exemption to total turnover ratio and reversal under 42 and 43. Suppose a person turnover of exempt to total turnover ratio is suppose say 80%, maybe it's 50%, whereas the reversal under 42, 43 has not made it, or he has made a small amount of reversal. Those cases department is taking for further inquiry. HSN-wise purchase and sales is a very important report, I can tell you, because when I have full slide of this, I will explain to you. In Gujarat, good number of cases were booked only on this basis. They found that a person was selling the castor seed, and against that there was a purchase of cotton seeds. He is purchasing cotton, selling the castor seeds, because the HSN for castor seed and HSN for the cotton seed are different. Seed cotton के लिए और castor seed क्या बोलते अरंडी and kapas. So based upon that, this guy is buying only the castor, yeah, and he's selling the cotton regularly. How that's possible? So they are getting the report HSN wise purchase and sale, and if there is a major difference in purchase and sale HSN wise, those cases also being taken up for investigation. I will give you some more example. Valuation, same HSN per unit valuation by different person, people do it. Taxpayer paying substantial tax through utilization of ITC, I told you. This has also become one of the basis for taking the case for the investigation. Risk profile of a taxpayer. Department has developed some 10 risk parameter, and by which every taxpayer is judged, and then they give numbers. This particular taxpayer is more risky, whatever it is. Constitution-wise taxpayer, individual HUF firm. Why this important? Because most of the cases what departments found for the fake or bogus invoices are found to be individuals or the HUFs, mostly individuals. So they found that along with the suppose the earlier parameter what we found out, new registration, high turnover, he has filed GSTR1. Then he found he's again an individual company selling to B, C, and D. These are all individual. Suspicion comes there. So putting together various parameters, they try to find out whether the case is suspicious or not. Taxpayer migrated to and from a jurisdiction. This report they get it. Sometimes what the people do, they found problem in one particular jurisdiction. They migrate registration to another jurisdiction. So those type of reports also they're getting it. Taxpayer making substantial exempted supplies. Yes, they do get a report. And then of course they finalize. These parameters are not for starting investigation. They go with little more details. These are the people, let us look into more parameters, and then they take up. Whereas in the earlier slide, what I showed to you, these are the case of real suspicion, and based upon that, they start the investigation immediately also there. So these are the reports available. I think I have to go quite fast. IGST refund on exports. I told you like this, they create a bogus firm in the name of driver, peons, etc. They get online refund within 1 to 2 months, and thereafter they vanishes there also. And they close the firm in 4 to 6 months after getting refunds. They keep the turnover less than 5 crore. I will not say turnover. They keep the GST amount less than 5 crore. They think that we will avoid arrest because they know that less than 5 crore they can't be arrested. But you must keep in mind two things also, that less than 2 crore they can arrest you, but they will give you a bail. Between 2 to 5 crore they give a bail to you. But very important aspect, one must keep it now. While computing 5 crore, if your purchase is bogus, at the same time sale is bogus, the turnover of the tax implications of purchase and sales both will be merged together. Both can be merged together. So if your bogus purchase is 2.5 crore, it means there is a bogus sale of 2.5 crore. Put together 5 crore tax implication, a person can be arrested and put in the jail. So please don't think that only my bogus purchases are 2 crore rupees. No. Your bogus purchase, tax involvement, and this tax involvement sales both will be clubbed together. But law provides for bogus purchase and bogus sales on a similar grounds also. Same freight water, same CHA. This is one of the one of the basis they have taken. for detecting such cases. I'm just quickly rushing through this. We are reaching. I was telling that, your purchase and sales HSN report, the groundnut oil manufacturer taking credit on castor sold, those are the real life cases of Gujarat. Number of cases in Gujarat and found out only on this basis, HSN for the purchase and HSN for sale. That's a Gujarat case. Butter manufacturer taking credit on ghee. For manufacture of butter, you never require the ghee, but those people have taken the credit on the ghee. And the HSN for ghee is different for HSN butter. They are able to catch hold of only on simple this information that how can you show this purchase and sale different HSN. HDP user taking credit on PVC. These are some of the examples. There are real life cases booked by department. What facts I've given there. I'm just not rushing through this. Supply without, yeah, this is the very important. I mean, I'll take only the number one only. Earlier what was happening, many people were importing the consumer goods. They were undervalue. I'm not going on the aspect of goods import from China and people undervalue. We got electrical goods and chocolates and furniture and so on. So what? So many goods are being imported from China mostly, and some other countries also there. Earlier, what was happening? They import, they pay whatever type of amount of quantum of custom duty, and thereafter there was no further trail how those goods were being sold in the market, whether they were paying the VAT or not paying the VAT, etc., etc. But now, after the GST, now the database of custom is talking to the database of GST. So whenever I import a goods or you import a goods, even the consumer goods, you are supposed to give your GSTN number. Your IGST number is supposed to be given there now. Now, what will happen now? So suppose a person from Gujarat, say Ahmedabad, is importing from, say, Mumbai or Nhava Sheva port, or is importing from Mundra or Pipavav or whatever it is now. Your IGSTN number, your GSTN number is available in the customs, and the customs send a report every month to all the state, whether it's a central tax authorities or state tax authorities. This person has imported goods worth 5 crore during the month. That report goes to the respective state authorities now, state or central, wherever the person is registered with them. So suppose a tax officer sitting in Gujarat, he will come to the Mr. So-and-so has imported goods from Calcutta as well as Chennai and from Bombay on the same GSTN number. But if that person has not filed the return in Gujarat, the Gujarat tax authority will come and knock at your door. Look, gentlemen, you have purchased the goods. आपने goods इतना import किया है. आपने sale तो show ही नहीं किया. आपके 2 महीने के returns है, and you are hardly showing any sale. You are showing the sale of 20 lakhs and 30 lakhs, whereas you imported goods worth 10 crore rupees. So this is the beauty of the GST and data. And department, I still remember end of 2018, they compared this reporting is import as per the customs and the sale as per GST 3B. And that time somebody told me that they suspect, even taking a 10% as a value addition, 10% as a profit, they suspect the evasion of more than 400 crore in 2018 I'm talking about. So this is the data where the people are sold the goods in cash. When I say without invoice means in cash, department is in a position to catch you. The second I will take it, compares your purchase data as per GST at 2A. Whatever I purchased, it's available in my GST at 2A. I purchased goods worth 5 crore rupees, whereas I'm showing the sale of 50 lakhs, 10 lakh, 20 lakhs rupees. Department can catch you in seconds only. I'm not going into much other details now. So these are the informed where even if people are selling in cash without invoices, department is in a position to track those cases also. That's what I wanted to say you. I will not go even beauty. I mean, you will be surprised the type of database department is having now. Use of section 150. I'm just quickly come to this only. Your TDS deducted under income tax by your customer while making a payment to you. Now that data is also getting shared with the GST department now. GST data is being sent to the income tax data is being sent to the GST department on periodical basis. So especially the service like contractors, commission agents, those type of people are there where the person while making a payment deduct the TDS. Am I correct? and under 194, where whatever the sections are there. Now that income tax data is passes to the GST department. You say, yes, Mr. Solanki has got he is being a contractor, इनको 5 crore रुपए का income मिला, उसको पर because TDS कट गया था when I got the money. But in my GST return, I'm not filing. So I will be caught there because there is a sharing of data between the income tax and the GST department. I'm not still going. So this is another way department is detecting the cases now, because now the exchange of data on the real-time basis. This is the most important point. You have to keep in mind that. Okay. Earlier it was taking years together. Now it is online. This one only. Now, what are the consequences? Consequences of fake and bogus invoices in the present law is that issue of invoices, 100% penalty of ITC passed on. If you issue an invoice, 100% penalty will be imposed on the seller. On the buyer also 100% penalty of ITC availed will be there. Every issuer and receiver of fake invoice in the chain liable for penal action. This is the point all of you must be knowing. I was giving a chain of A to B, C, D, and E. All the five people will be liable for the 100% penalty of the tax amount, even though tax evaded is only one. Even the tax evaded is only 1 crore rupees, but penalty on the 5 people means 5 crore of penalty will be levied in the as per the law. Blocking of credit, because when the department come to know, they will block the credit under Rule 86A. Offense of issue of fake invoice and taking ITC is a cognizable and non-bailable offense where the tax involved is more than 5 crore, which I discussed with, person can be arrested. If tax involved between 2 to 5 crore, he will be arrested and bail will be granted. But arrest means you have been put in that list of, blacklisted people for many reasons, for your passport, for your loans, bank transaction, anything also can be there. Now, this is the point I wanted to highlight here. What are the new changes in the budget 2020, which many people might have missed it also there? In 122 of CGST Act, there's a GST law. Any person who retains the benefit of a transaction covered under so-and-so, and at whose instance such transaction is conducted, he will be liable to penalty of an amount equal to tax evaded. It means who retains the benefit, the brokers, the middlemen in between, जो ब्रोकर के काम का बिल ला करके देने का काम करते हैं, वो आपका 0.5% या 1% रखते हैं. Now those people will also be liable to penalty of the 100% of tax. Suppose tomorrow a chartered accountant is caught and he's found to be involved in the whole racket, he's also liable for penalty. But similar in Amendment 132 is the prosecution. That fellow will also be prosecuted in the criminal court. But now comes the most important amendment in 271 AAD in the Income Tax Act. It says under the income tax, penalty for false entry, including fake purchase and sales, fake purchase and the fake sales invoices in the books of account will be liable to a penalty equal to value of that transaction. That's the whole problem. A purchase who has done the fake purchase or fake sales, he can be, I don't know, this is really a unreasonable amount. Penalty equal to value of that goods or service can be imposed upon you. And penalty also imposable on any person who made or caused to make such entry. Person who has made such entry of bogus bill or who has caused to make such entry, there can be accountant, can be chartered accountant, brokers, provided they were aware of it. If somebody say, I am only a simply accountant in the company, I was not aware, it's okay. But you need to prove it that you were not aware of it. You can be also liable for penalty. So point initially I told you in the Income Tax Act, there are a couple of judgments are there which say that in the case of bogus purchase, since there is a bogus purchase and there is a sale is also there, so person has not got any benefit. So courts have taken the way at the most you can charge him income tax on the differential of 5 or 10%, but you cannot disallow all the 100% value of the bogus purchase. Now the government, in order to come out of that, government said, okay, we abide by your respect the court's order, but what about the penal provision? Now they say, I will impose penalty equal to the value of that goods under the Income Tax Act. This is very, very risky proposition. And there, I don't know how the court will, somebody can challenge that, yes, it's a too excessive penalty, but I don't know, court can tell economic offenses are nowadays, nobody want to become liberal, even the courts doesn't want. Yes, I'm imposing penalty. I'm not asking you to pay the tax. I'm imposing penalty. And penalty quantum can be anything also. Those were the, okay, that I've explained to you in faster. Last one, before we reach to 7 o'clock, sharing of information to other department. There's a system of what we call Regional Economic Intelligence Committee, wherein the officers from GST, central and state government, customs, income tax, enforcement directorate, RBI, SEBI, CBI, and economic offense. They meet regularly, mostly quarterly, and then they discuss all the cases booked by any of the departments, whether by ED or customs or income tax or GST, which involve more than 1 crore rupees. They are shared with each other. So even the case is booked by one, like say by GST, income tax will initiate the action, ED can under PMLA can do this, say money laundering, etc., etc. So you have to be very, very cautious. Nowadays, government has become very proactive. So therefore, you have to be cautious. I'm not touching that because okay, let me touch this on the transfer of credit. Department has also booked some cases where the credit has been transferred because there was the accumulation of credit with one group company, and then they try to transfer to another group company by simply issuing the invoices and mostly for the services. Those cases. Now I'm coming to the end now. I'm not touching on this. Now, the purpose of this discussion is not to scare you, because most of you might have got scared now. But the question is that as a professional, we have to be careful now, much, much careful, that one should not take any such transaction lightly. Because in the past, people were thinking, "Kaun pakadta hai, dekha jayega." No. Now the department catch you with much speeder way. Penal provisions are strict. So you have to be very, very cautious, because I feel bad because number of times people are doing the transaction for the bank limits and bank loans and some other reason, and the poor fellow is caught and he is nowhere basically. And then the officer will threaten, "We'll arrest you unless you pay up the money," and the same money is getting collected from various people. Of course, we are taking number of places. We are taking that if you have done only for the bogus purchase, bogus sale, tell the people that it's only bogus, sir. But my intention was not there. And suppose they recover the money from you, then you immediately lodge a claim for refund for the tax paid by you in the sales also there. Because department say your ITC is bogus. Okay, my ITC is bogus, but my sale is also bogus. I will claim the refund. And number of cases I found that people say, "Really, sir, we have received the goods." I don't know. उस आदमी ने पता नहीं, because the brokers, especially because I found some cases in the textile market in Bombay, including Surat, have been booked recently. And there the fellow says, "Genuinely, sir, I mean, all our transactions are done through the agents only. हमको तो मालूम ही नहीं, पता नहीं supplier कौन है," which is a normal way of deal in the textile market and maybe some other markets also there. So that says that by broker say that, "Yes, I will give you this goods, I mean this particular fabric for 100 rupees per meter." वो मुझे इनवॉइस पे लाके दे दिया, माल भी लाके दे दिया जाकर, व्हाट इज माय फॉल्ट सर? एंड देन इट टर्न आउट उसका इनवॉइस उसका बोगस था, मालूम जाके उस पर हम भी क्या कर सकते हैं? There you have to be cautious, that you have to be firm during investigation. No, sir, I mean, we have received the goods, we have sold the goods, the evidence is also there only there. So otherwise people generally under pressure, they just pay up and they don't contend, because you're accepting here is not going to close your case. And the income tax will be problem. Some other agency may take you. So be firm. But at the same time, please be careful. My intention is not to scare any one of you, just to inform you. The department now, the tax authorities got lot many data with them. So you have to be really be careful not to indulge in any such things. You're almost reaching 7 o'clock. So Jatin bhai, we can, take up some question if somebody is having the questions. So whatever the manner you want through the, what you call it, chat box, or you want to have through the opening up, whatever way you want to do, let me know.
Yeah. Thank you, Jatin. So I have just posted in the chat box asking for the questions.
Okay.
If anybody wants to ask the question, they can raise the hand or put it in the chat box. I can allow them to talk or something. Yeah. So participants, the floor is open for the Q&A. Okay, there is one question from Jainam Shah. Where can we learn more about GST as a student?
Where can we know more about GST as a?
As a student.
Uh, so you want to know more about GST and you want to read something or you want to what discuss something? What you want
I'll
to?
just unmute Jainam. I think he will be able to ask you.
Yeah.
Jainam, if you are online, please unmute yourself. I'm giving you the right. Yeah.
Yes, good evening, sir. The lecture was very informative, and I was just want to know that where can we learn, not discuss, but as a student, I am pursuing MBA, so I have interest in GST. But which will be the best books or anything which you can advise based on your experience?
In fact, I'll tell you basically, even if you go to Google, CBIC, Central Board of Indirect Taxes, cbic.gov.in, in their website also, the reasonable amount of material is available. You know, what the basic features of the GST, how it is different from other. Since you being pursuing MBA, you don't require to know the much, but intricacy, but you should know the basics of GST. So that basics of GST, it's in the CBIC website also available. Plus in the Google, you find a lot many other websites also giving the basics of GST. That would be sufficient for you, I suppose.
So there's another question that is, there are many bogus vendor who has not filed their return, and there are GST mismatch under the rule 36 subsection 4. So what about any views about that?
No, I mean, if there is a mismatch, is there in the sense that they have not filed the GSTR 3B. This can be one mismatch. And second mismatch is that they are not filed GSTR 1 also. In both the cases, your ITC is at risk. That you can't get the ITC. First point is there. But the whole issue is that, I mean, whether you really receive the goods or not. If you did not receive the goods, then the risk is much bigger risk is there only. Department can catch you anytime. So it's better that in that case, if you're really not received the goods, I would suggest of your own, just pay up that money and with the interest and try to close the matter. But if you receive the goods, then you should have the evidences with you, whether it may be the lorry receipt or whatever XYZ, e-way bill will always be there. In the e-way bill also, the transporter has to be genuine because nowadays, investigation has become much easier. There is a Google apps, some app is there by which you put the vehicle number and you find what type of vehicle is that. Is it a real correct or is it bogus? Even the vehicle number, type of vehicle can be found out. So department is using that particular, private apps and finding out. Earlier, they were supposed to go to all the RTOs and RTO will take 6 months time to give information that this is what type of vehicle are. Nowadays, you get in the app only nowadays. So if your client is sure he has received the goods, need not to worry. Otherwise, I would suggest you pay up with interest is better. But otherwise, anytime the department can knock on your door.
Yeah. So next question is, how can we prove that we have received the goods?
The proving basically is your own records. First thing, a transporter is the most important. The transporter has to be genuine. And because the transporter is always called for during the investigation by the officers. So transport should be in position to give, yes, I did receive the goods, I'd have delivered the goods only. And second, your internal record that, yes, we received the goods, you repacked it or you sold like this, or, you have sold the goods, and your buyer should also be in a position to confirm it, yes, I've received the goods physically. So, I mean, and any other evidence, some people have put if somebody is having the factories, they have even the CCTV camera for receipt of the goods. I mean, that, yes, this goods were received, they captured the vehicle number and the unloading of the goods. And they keep it for a year or so, all these evidences. So tomorrow the department come, they can say, yes, this is the photograph. This is my CCTV camera also. So fact to facts, you have to, develop the evidence and keep it with you only.
Thank you, sir. The last, Jatin sir, if you permit, we can take the last question or we can.
Prior to that, one question was there. Prosecution rests on whom? Authorized person under GST or director? And penalty whether personal liability. There was a question from Mr. Virag Shah.
Yeah. Virat, you want to expand the question more? You can unmute him, madam. So you can expand the question.
Mr. Virag, you can unmute and.
Yeah, Mr. Virag, if you are online, Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Virag.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Uh, Sir, my question is in GST, we have this concept of authorized person for GST, all the filings, returns, and everything. So, wanted to understand if in this kind of situation, the liability becomes of the person who is authorized under GST or is of the director, and also the uh, this penalty exposure is personal to the person who is authorized under GST or it is on the company.
Yeah, very good question. Also, I must say that. See let me first take the penal provision now. A penal provision, first thing is on the company also there. And second penal provision, what I was talking in the amendment made in 2020 budgets, basically, that if any other person is there who was aware of it, basically, he was aware that something is done wrong. And in spite of knowing that, he has taken the credit, even if you may be authorized signatory also there. So personal penalty can come on the abatement side also there. There is a personal penalty on abatement. I mean, you are abating, you are aware, you are party to this also. So of course, on the company, it can be on directors also if the department is in the position to prove that, yes, directors were aware. Because if bogus bills are there, directors or owners would be aware. Not all the directors, at least a few directors who were looking after day-to-day affairs. And the third, yes, you are authorized signatory, but if you are aware that, yes, it has happened. I mean, as an authorized signatory, you may not be aware because you get the document given to you by the management. Okay, iska credit le lo ja karke. You are taking the credit. In that case, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sorry,
Please go ahead.
sorry. In that case, if you're able to prove that you are simply signed the return for the purpose of filing, then liability will not come to you for the penalty. But if the department is in the position to prove that you were aware, in that case, penalty can come out. So everything will depend whether you were aware or you were not aware. The second question about prosecution, similar thing will be applicable in the case of prosecution also, that your involvement, if the department is able to prove, you can be prosecuted, otherwise not. So the nutshell I can tell you, when you give the statement, suppose the investigation is taking place and you are giving a statement, you have to be very, very clear that as an authorized signatory, whatever the documents are given to you by the account department or by the tax department, you are simply put in the returns. And you don't look after day-to-day receipt of the goods, day-to-day payment of the goods. You don't deal with the suppliers. So you don't know whether the goods are received or not. You have to make very clear statement. And you say, my responsibility is only to file the return. And based upon information given to me by the accounts department or by the directors or the sales department, whatever it is, I've taken the credit. And beyond that, I don't know. Is that clear, Virag?
Yeah. So there was a last question. Let's address that. And in case of small vendors, they are preparing the invoices manually. But while reconciliation of the input credit with the GST site record, these are not matching. So how to address these type of issues?
No, you are making sales invoice manually, but you mean to say your supplier is SSI unit? I think looks like your question like this. Your supplier is the SSI unit, and sometimes they make the tax invoice manually. While filing GST or one, there might be some mismatch. I think looks like the question looks like that only.
Yeah.
If that's a question, I think you have to educate your supplier only, because the mismatch is there. Department will not give you the credit in any way. So you have to be educate your supplier, because otherwise, if your question is this, that SSI unit is making the sales invoices manually, when this credit is not linked with your sales invoice, no, credit is linked with the purchase invoice. So I think your question appears to be SSI unit, a small fellow is the supplier, and there is a batch. So I think you have to educate him only. That's the only way out. You can make amendment. No, once you come to know it's not matching, you can ask him to amend his GSTR 1 and GSTR 3 before next month or after 2 months or 3 months. You can amend it. Then your credit can be regularized.
Right, sir. Sir, on behalf of all the participants and Ahmedabad Management Association, I am grateful to you for such a lively session, and in a very simple way you explained how such fraud at GST are taking place and how even the department is so well equipped today to detect such fraud. So this gives immense knowledge and idea and practical aspects to all chartered accountants and other participants at this webinar. And definitely it has added the value to all the participants. Thank you very much again, sir. It's a webinar for 1 hour, but you can take it for 5 hours, then only it will be better for all of us. But it's a great opportunity, I think, to all of us. And thank you for sparing your time, sir.
Thank you very much, Jatin
Thank
bhai,
you.
madam,
Thank you.
all of you.
Thanks to all.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
all.
you.
Thanks all the participants.
Hands up.
No, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Solanki sir,
Nat.
thank you very much.
Okay, nice to see you, Nat sir.
Thank you very much. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Bye.